All right, I think we're live on the second episode of the Grumbling Dwarf. I thought I was live, but apparently I wasn't live. Now we're live, and this is going to be the very first episode where we're doing a completely open forum. Anybody at all can show up and say hello, and sort of that's how I wanted to structure it. I don't know how this is going to work, but essentially I'm opening up the tavern and tapping the keg and cleaning the table so that if anyone wants to pop in at any time just to talk about the Dowie, they can pop in. And as I said in the first in the prep episode, I don't know how this is going to work. I'm just going to do it and we'll see. And no one's sitting in chat right now, so I'm going to start grumbling. And I guess the first thing to talk about is what has got me grumbling this week. And I just did a long video last night of the new updates, and what's got me grumbling this week is the changes to the abilities for the runesmith. So when we look at the runesmith and the rune lord, their rune of wrath and rune is no longer going to have the direct damage component. It's just going to have a slow, but it's not going to be minus 48% speed. It's going to be minus 72% speed, along with a minus 72% speed to the charge. It's very much like the nasty skulkers smoke bomb, which is minus 76% speed, and very much like the nasty skulkers ability smoke bomb. But I mean, they can use that as many times as they like. And its duration is 21 seconds, where the Dowie's is going to be 19 and 38. The big thing is the smoke bomb can hit anything within 30 meters. The Dowie version will have a 200 meter range, which is quite nice. Now, what has got me grumbling? Now, it's not the change to this. Like, in fact, I think it can be argued that, it's a nerf in that you're losing a lot of damage. But it's also that minus 76% speed and charge speed is going to make it so that the Dowie can deal with chariots a lot more effectively. Because oftentimes people who play chariots will just spam click around your back line, and they'll just run around constantly, and they'll constantly get into their charge animation. And even if you got them slowed down to, say, 40 speed, they'll hit their charge animation, go up to 80 speed. And then they're hard to hit with Trollhammer torpedoes. If you hit them with smoke bomb, where they have 76% reduction in charge speed, 76% reduction in speed, they're going to be much easier to hit with smoke bomb. Now, what has me grumbling is not the change. It is what it is. I understand exactly why CA is doing that, and it makes sense because it will absolutely help dwarfs control chariots and speedy things. What has me grumbling is the reaction. So, I know a lot of you out there know that, people either love or hate the dwarfs. But the way people think about the Dowie, in my mind, is utterly insane. Like, it is literally insane. I hear comments like, the dwarfs shouldn't have this slow. This is ridiculous. Oh, well, I guess we don't get to use chariots anymore. This is, we're going to have to go back to trying a different way to get to the dwarfs. Like, the idea that dwarfs should not have any crowd control abilities or slows is on its face absurd. And, it's, the Dowie are the slowest faction in the game. There's nothing, there's no one slower. You need, like, every single faction in the game can draw kite the dwarfs at the end of the battle, if they like. It is a testament to how good the community is in general, as far as the way that they play the game and the way they think about the game and the way they think about competition, that dwarfs aren't draw kited every game, because you can. Like, you literally, every single faction in the game can draw kite dwarfs. Like, I honestly think this Rune of Wrath and Rune shouldn't have a maximum of 4 uses. I think it should be unlimited, just like Smoke Bomb. And because it's not going to do damage. The reason you put something with maximum uses is when it does a lot of damage. But I think now you can take the charges off it for sure, because late in the game, like in the games that I've been draw kited, had I had a rune left with 76 speed, 76 charge speeds reduction, then I could at least have a chance to not get draw kited. So I definitely think it should be continuous, not even have charges, which is just like the Nasty Skulkers. And by the way, by way of comparison, how utterly crazy people get when they think about the dwarves. If they don't like the dwarves, I mean, if people don't like the dwarves, they really do say some nutty things. So Nasty Skulkers are a great unit without their smoke bomb, right? They just have it for free. And it's a 30-meter radius, and they can use it as many times as they like for 21 seconds. They also have Wurzag, and he has Effigy to Git, a 13-second spell he can use twice that stops something dead in its tracks and does damage to it. You know what else they have? I think it's the Night Goblin War Boss that has our old ability, the Tormentor Sword. Minus 26 melee attack and can't move for 9 seconds, which was apparently so oppressive that they had to take it away from the Thane, which is not too bad. It's a sword. I mean, I don't mind that, but I don't have any issue with Thanes having crowd control either. The thing is, with a Thane, like, how anyone was upset about this, you can see the Thane. Everyone can avoid them. A Thane runs at 32 speed. You do not have to go anywhere near a Thane. But I guess it was too oppressive. On top of that, okay, the Greenskins, of course, have artillery, and some good artillery with the Doom Divers. They have very, very mobile ranged. They have armor sundering range to use with those abilities. And by the way, they have some of the fastest cavalry in the game at 92 speed, so things can't outrun them at the end of the game. Pretty hard to draw kite the orcs. And they have summons. They can use the Arachnarok Queen, and they can actually summon something. Like, like, you look at this, and not only do other factions that don't need slows, and oh, by the way, right, they have pervasive poison, right? They have poison on ranged, which slows things down by 24% speed, and poison is so worthless to them, sometimes they don't bring units with poison. That is how, because they wouldn't even the orcs wouldn't even think about, okay, that's something useful for slowing. If the Dowie had a unit that could apply poison from range, it would be brought every game. It'd be brought every game. And yet you look at one of the factions with some of the fastest cavalry, impossible to be draw kite. It has ranged, it has artillery, it has hard CC, and free smoke bombs. And like, people are like, meh, oh, okay. They don't seem to think it's important or that big of a deal, because it's not that important to the faction. They're like, like, this faction doesn't bring Nasty Skulkers in general for the smoke bomb, with the exception, okay, maybe sometimes they'll keep 1 or 2 in their backline to protect artillery or something with that smoke bomb. But they have a lot of CC, and it's not required to have it, though it is still very good. Like, Wurzag uses Effigy to Git all the time. But for the Dowie to have it, people go off their rockers, which really is the definition of insane. The slowest faction in the game, the faction that cannot actually catch anybody, they don't want them to have CC. To me, like it makes me talk under my breath. I really, really do grumble when I see these nutty things that people talk about. And the way they talk about them, it's like they don't realize. It's like for some reason their brain has stopped functioning, and they don't realize that the slowest faction in the game needs some way to catch stuff. And this is why, some units are so strong against the Daoi, like chariots. This is why chariots are very strong against the Daoi. It's because chariots don't take damage when they charge into something, and they just charge from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, and they get these immense kill counts, and the dwarfs have a real hard time dealing with them. So I don't understand why how people could say such crazy, such like demonstrably nutty things when they think about the Daoi. Really, it's genuinely shocking to me. So, anyways, I might grumble a little bit more about that. I don't even like when I see some of these nutty things said. I don't even know how to process it. It's like I don't even know. It's so irrational that people would say such a thing. It's crazy. Hi Vin, how you doing? So that it's so utterly irrational. It is so on its face crazy that there's no way for me to process what's going on when people say these strange things. And so I grumble. So what I do is as years go by, you learn that crazy people are crazy. You can't convince someone who is genuinely insane about anything. So it's silly to try. And in fact, when crazy people really talk, a lot of times they make their points sound really nutty, and so it's they convince people that they convince other people that they're so nuts their viewpoint is probably wrong. Usually, it's not worth it to get into it, But I definitely will grumble about it, and anyone saying the dwarf should not have a slow, like the new ability for the runesmith, because it's going to be oppressive. This is insane. Oh my god. So it is absolutely off the rocker. I don't even know how you process that. I mean, so maybe you might be able to do it if slows were very, very rare, but they're not. Like anyone, like Nets of Amontok has been in the game since it launched, and not only that, I mean Nets of Amontok is an AOE that's castable. Like you can stop 3 units if they're all in place. Whereas this is only going to be able to target 1 unit. And, if you have 4 chariots, which is still going to be possible, I mean, stopping 1 chariot is going to help. And it'll definitely help slow that down. But chariots are still going to be strong versus the Daoi. Mark my words, chariots are not going to stop being strong against the Daoi. Interestingly, I had a question earlier this week about chariots, or a discussion about chariots, where someone had made the comment, I see you and Rorkabos and Yume's doing so well against chariots, it makes me think that chariots are not that strong versus the Daoi. And so we sort of had that discussion back and forth, and what you see is that really one of the strengths of the Daoi. Oh, a wizard lizard, Jake Wu. How are you guys doing? If you wanna jump into Discord, into chat, and get into here, you're welcome to. I'm on Discord for um, Shetland Apache's main Discord and caster chat channel. You guys are welcome to come in here, or you're welcome to just stay in chat and say hello. But so I'm grumbling. I'm just grumbling about people being upset about the new Dwarf slow, even though it's a net nerf. That they're very upset that the Runesmith is going to have a strong slow now. Yeah, Discord. I'm in Shetland Apache's caster chat channel. If you're welcome to come in and say hello, and I will go through patch notes hype. Brachycera, yes. I did a 3-hour video last night talking about patch notes. I think generally the Dowie did pretty good. I'm very happy with the changes. And one of the things I haven't been doing too much forum work on the forums, but that's been there. Bonus versus large for the gyrocopters. Yep, that's I think it's 13 or 11 bonus versus large more for the brimstone guns. Should be good, I think. When you look at that, we had +2 melee attack for dwarf warriors with great weapons, which is something that I really was driving on the forums. Did some testing, and it looks like it had an effect. +2 melee attack for miners. That's the first time miners have been touched since the beginning of the game. And Jake Gotrek is here. Yes. Brachyceria watched it while painting minis. It was super relaxing. Yeah, it's funny. I'd make these long form videos where I just read every single word, and I do it for multiple reasons. Number one, like I said in the video, I do tend to do that so that if you're on a bus or just have it playing in the background, it's just sort of there, because I do that with other people's videos too, and I just enjoy it. Sometimes I get a little piece of news, sometimes I'm just doing stuff, so that's really cool. And plus Thanes OP. Thanes are much stronger, much cheaper as far as a one-on-one. We'll see if they have their abilities changed. I mean, the Thanes need different abilities to really be powerful, but we'll see. Vin and miners and dwarf warriors, yes, +2 melee attack, Vin. I'm so happy about that, and you know how long I've been talking about miners and dwarf warriors with great weapons. Now it's longbeards with great weapons. Longbeards with great weapons are next. And a wizard lizard, indeed, great nude for great weapons and miners. Yep. Kanger, LOL. People complain about triple Thane builds. Triple Thane meta. I'm happy to see the Thanes got buffed. Will they be useful? I think they have some abilities with the weakness to fire and the slow. And now they're slow. If you look at the Runesmith is going to have this 76, the same as Smoke Bomb. This is 76% charge speed, 76% speed. You combine that with the Thane's aura, which I assume that they'll still have, and if they don't and they change it, that's fine. But the Thane's slow aura, Rune of Slowness, is 18% speed. That gives you a 90% speed reduction all around. So that's what we're going to, that might be useful along with the Ironbeard's Ring, 22% weakness to fire. And the Silverhorn of Vengeance, I don't know. I would like to see it buffed, but I've seen some testing where it can be useful in some situations, for sure. And the higher damage you can do, the better, more useful it's going to be. But I've loved I think in general the patch notes were very strong for the dwarfs. And the changes to lords. Now every lord got buffed in the whole game on foot, essentially. It's just it affects the dwarfs the most. 10 and 1 of the red host. I think I'm Grombrindle and 2 Runesmiths will be nice. Yeah, I agree. And I can't wait for the update to Umaze in his guide. Same. Jake Woo, I'll be back. Just need to get some food. Hey, I'll see you in a bit, Jake. So, the change to Rune and Wrath and Rune is a nerf. Let's not, I don't want anyone to be thinking it's some sort of buff. It's a definite nerf, though it is more focused. What the change to Rune and Wrath and Rune is going to do, in my estimation, and I did talk about it a little bit, is that you're going to see less of the Rune Lord, but you still will see a Runesmith in every build, I think. Rune and Wrath and Rune and the Hammer of Karak draws, and they're going to be 50 gold cheaper. They're going to come in at 782. I think that's pretty good. Now, you might start seeing the Thane as well. You get the Thane with the weakness to fire. If you do some fire damage, that helps your Brimstone guns. That helps everything. And this Rune of Slowness for 18% speed. Maybe that's viable, because now instead of 837, he's 737. 100 gold cheaper. But the Lord that I thought got buffed the most was Belagar. Like, he's going to be 1,000 gold, 60 melee defense, and much more rugged in the pocket. I think he's going, like, Belagar is going to be the go-to quote-unquote cheap Lord. Ungram getting 100 gold. Like, everyone got 100 gold reduction, including the base Lord will be 900 instead of 1,000, except for the Rune Lord, who only got 50. Kanger, Two Devil, thank you for all your testing. I think your videos influenced CA and buffing the Dwarf Warriors' great weapons and miners. I hope so. It feels like they did, because the Dwarf Warriors' great weapons was tacked on at the end. So maybe they saw it and they said, okay, let's try this. I think it was I like to believe that it had an influence, because it's motivating, Kanger. So you know how that is. I mean, it's motivating, because I'd love doing testing anyways. Brachysera, I'm looking forward to whichever Mad Lad Dowie sends in an MP replay with the flame cannon. Oh my god, Brachysera. That flame cannon, like, the flame cannon is already crazy powerful. It's just so vulnerable. So, I mean, I'm still going to use it versus the Wood Elves, but no Wood Elves will play us. Well, maybe now with their buff troops, you might see it. Who knows? Wizard Lizard, too bad I'm at work right now. What can I say for now? This patch has been the greatest as far as I can remember, due to the simple fact that it shook things up instead of being boring. You know what? This patch, aside from the stuff for the Dowie, giving limits is so good. Like, giving, going more towards Shetland's amazing Warhammer Cup rules limits for things is going to be absolutely fun. I do hope they reset the ladder too. I think that would be great. I think that they should reset the ladder every month, but at least every quarter. And then when they reset the ladder, every time they reset the ladder, if they did some little changes, I think that'd be great. Wizard Lizard, plus 50 gold here, minus 50 there. Yep, Kanger. Now we got to get you early access. I know it'll be nice maybe someday, but I'm not too worried about it. 10-1, the red host, Brachysera. I have a fun replay that I have to get to send to you, Sudevil. Yes, 10-1, send it to me. Got 200 kills, nice. Brachysera, I normally kill more of my own troops than the enemy and using a flame cannon. Well, you got to be careful. I mean, it is only got that. It's only got 230 range, but I mean, it's going to be the same, but 1400 instead of 1250, and you're paying an extra 250 or an extra 150 gold for almost 50% more damage. You combine that with a runesmith, and it's almost 100% more damage. On what you're hitting, because here's the play, right? A runesmith out front with slow to slow things down, so they're easier to hit, and weakness to fire. You get within 200 meters with the runesmith, and you use their Rune of Wrath and Rune to slow it by 76%, and you wipe it off the map with the flame cannon. That's the play. But it doesn't work against anything that can counter battery. Like, against high elves, taking flame cannons are a really bad idea. Trust me, I did it once. I've done it twice. Once it worked great. Once it got killed before it even got a shot in. Same with dark elves. It's maybe you can take it versus some other factions, but maybe you can take it against greenskins. I don't know, but 10-1 of the red host. It's fun to make silly armies with master engineer and flame cannon. Sure, yeah, you could instead of bringing the Thane and the weakness, I mean, you could try and bring the master engineer. So you could bring a rune lord, right? And what you do is you bring the Rune of Wrath and Rune, and you bring the Master Rune of Negation, and you bring the Master Rune of Grungy, and that's going to help protect your flame cannon from getting sniped out. Then your Master Engineer, you can give them entrenchment to the 22% physical resist and the 40% armor, and ballistics recalibration for that, and you give him the 18% accuracy, which is very low. Like, you could bring a lineup like this as well, because you got to think the Rune Lord is 50 cheaper, the Rune Smith is 100 cheaper, and the Master Engineer is 100 cheaper. Or is the Rune Smith 50 cheaper? I can't remember. I think it's 50 cheaper, and the Master Engineer is 100. So this is 200 gold cheaper for 150 gold on the flame cannon. So essentially, it's the same price, a little cheaper than it is right now. Wizard Lizard. My previous message was back to back. Didn't have space. 10 and 1 of the Red Host. Althar's Raiders and Entrenchment equal rip whatever's getting shot by the flame cannon. Oh my god, I never even thought of that. Althar's Raiders with their minus 30 armor, minus 22% missile resistance, minus 24%. Yeah, that would be devastating. That is actually really devastating. And actually, you put the Thane like this with the slow and weakness to fire. Yeah, and he has a Master Rune of Wrath and Rune for 200 meters, 76% speed for 38 seconds. Yeah. So that lineup kills anything. Literally. Vin against Chaos, maybe the Flame Cannon. You know, maybe Vin. Because it would kill, like, all you have to do is get onto one chosen, and you got it. The problem is they're so disruptive in your back line with Sithoril and their horses and their doggos and stuff like that. But maybe a Wizard Lizard. So far, the Flame Cannon has kind of worked for me against vampire counts. So I would love to try that Wizard Lizard, but the I'm so worried about bats. Because lots of people bring like 4 bats. I'd love to bring it against vampire counts because it's so good, but bats worry me. Kanger, curious to see if souped up Ungram with Red and Ruin and his other buds can melt large units if sufficiently slowed. Well, this is the thing that I was talking about with the slows. Now, what this has done, this change, is I don't think you need to bring the Rune Lord anymore. Because that damage from the Master Rune of Wrath and Rune was something, and often you'd bring the Rune Lord and the Rune Smith, so you could double hit on this Rune of Wrath and Rune to slow things down. Now you don't need to, so I think you're going to have the Rune Lord, and then you'll have the Rune Smith like this. It'll be 782. You bring him with Ungram, and now Ungram can catch something. And you could bring Ungram with his whole kit, he'll be cheaper by 100, or you can bring him with nothing, and he'll be 1250. But the beauty is, you slow something down by 76% speed and 76% charge, and Ungram will be able to hit it. So, Kanger, you are not wrong to think that this might be a good combination. That could be crazy. A Wizard would have them on guard. They keep shooting. Yeah. Okay. So, I know I can see the Runesmith. Like, I really. Here's how your every build starts. One Runesmith with Rune of Wrath and Rune, and I think the Hammer of Karak draws, but you take that out, it'll be 620, with just the ability to slow things down. I mean, your Runesmith is a little weaker because it has, I think, -2 melee defense or something like that. Thorgrim didn't get cheaper. No, he did get cheaper, and he has more AP. So we'll see. I hope they change some of the Thane's abilities, but we'll see. Dwarf Warriors' great weapons are a little better. Miners are a little better. Miners with blasting charges, at 425, they'll still be quite useful. And they got +2. If you look, when you look at a unit, I mean, they get essentially 2 stat points are worth about 25 gold. That's what it's worth. You look at 1 Chevron, they get 2 stat points, and it's 21 gold on miners. But generally, it's a kind of a good rule of thumb to say 2 stat points are worth 25 gold. So essentially, they're getting 2 stat points. These guys get it for free, and your miners with blasting charges pay for it. But the miners with blasting charges are still going to be powerful. What I actually suggested is I really want the miners to have their underground trait. So you pop out from under the ground, but I don't know if that'll ever come, but I'll keep suggesting it. as far as how that's going to go. So, what I'm going to do is I sort of grumbled. I had my grumble. I had my little dwarf tantrum about slows. Kangaroo Ekron miners are steel now. Their price didn't go up, and they got plus melee attack. Yep, they were good before. They're hard to use though. They've always been good. They're just hard to use because you got to get all their blasting charges off to really get the uses out of them. But anyways, what I'll do is maybe I'll get out of this screen and I'll go and we'll look at a game, and I'll just play the game and watch it, and I'll watch chat, and that'll be the second episode of the Grumbling Dwarf, unless someone pops into chat and I can ask them their set of questions. So I'm going to go and just start a game that I've wanted to cast along with the other high elf armies I saw. It's from Grumpy Guard, and a game where he actually brought a Clan Angren and a ghost, which I think is really fun. It's down here somewhere. Damn ghost snipers. Yeah, there we go. Dwarf versus High Elves, scary. So this is a Grumpy Guard, and if you saw, Grumpy Guard played in the Clan Wars, in one of Turn's most recent Clan Wars, and he brought the dwarfs in that as well, and had a great game against Kark, who's a really good player. So I'm just going to let this replay sort of go, and I will watch chat, and we'll see. But you can see Grumpy Guard has 3 Trollhammer torpedoes, 2 brimstone guns, and he has a heavy AP core, and he has the ghost there, the ghost runesmith. So he has the Rune of Wrath and Rune, and all the ghosts got 100 gold cheaper. I don't know that brings them into usefulness or not, but it is what it is, you know. So you can see, I think the Dowie, most of them are hidden, and these guys are not hidden because, of course, they got the gyrocopters that are sort of coming. So you're going to kind of come up and face the dwarfs to meet sort of up here. I don't know if the dwarfs get a heal. Yeah, the dwarfs are going to get a heal advantage, but there are 3 swordmasters in this build, you know, back here, and there are these Sisters of Avalorn. Now, the Sister of Avalorn, why are they dangerous? They have magic damage and fire damage. They're dangerous because they have a lot of AP, and they're dangerous against gyrocopters. So Grumpy Guard coming in to try and get onto the Noble, and we've got, of course, Alariel the Radiant with her heals, but really, on these kind of things, the Dowie just want to get up in here and get into that fight. Where is his ghost? So he's getting in here with it. So I just want to show something. This is precisely why I don't use miners with blasting charges out front. This is not a criticism or anything. Swordmaster Hoeth getting a Master Rune or Wrath Rune. No. 2 things. Number 1, it is hard to get your blasting charges off when you have your guys out front. That's why I always put my miners with blasting charges behind, so I can get those blasting charges onto whatever is out here. Then I can actually take the miners and either support up front or go to the middle or to the outside to try and block against infantry and stuff like that. So that's sort of the way that I think about them, because I see this happen too much. And if your miners with blasting charges don't get their blasting charges off, I mean, that's the reason. That's not just a 75 gold loss. Base miners are so bad in melee, it's a massive loss. And you can look, and they're going to get crushed by spearmen. They're going to get crushed by the noble. Now, this noble is getting shot down by the iron drakes with trollhammer torpedoes, but you know, it's really, really significant. You can see, anyways, you see the swordmasters coming out here. This guy has the Master Rune of Wrath and Rune on him. He's got about, and you can see the damage it's doing now. He's got 6,000 hit points to start with. He needs to get him down to 3,000. He's essentially got him a third of the way there. And he's coming in with Throny here. What does he have? Is that the Master Rune of Wrath and Rune? It is. So he's got him down sort of a third of the way there, and he's going to get 1 charge in with these hammers, and you're going to see that just helps them get rid of that martial prowess incredibly fast. Yeah, Master Rune of Wrath and Rune, Shield of Safri. He's got Life Bloom for the heals, but this is the example, and the hammers are still going to get pretty pounded by the Swordmasters of Hoeth up in here. When you look at exactly how these play out. Now they are afraid. If you look at their leadership, frightened by an enemy unit, so that Throny Ironbrow here is scaring them. But even with that massive Rune of Wrath and Rune, Swordmasters of Hoeth are one of the very best units in the game. Their hammers are still going to struggle against them. So losing that damage is going to be very significant. It's a pretty big nerf for the Runesmiths and the Rune Lord. In the one sense, it's a interesting ability in the other sense. So I think, like I said, I think Rune Lords are going to be used a lot less now. But Runesmiths are going to be in every army, bar none. So yeah, so we got the Rune of Wrath and Rune on these Swordmasters of Hoeth. They're going against the Hammers. These guys still have it, and they're going against the Hammers. And now they're just about to lose their martial prowess. Yeah, as soon as they get to 3,000 health, away that's going to go. And that's going to make a pretty big difference because their stats are going to be reduced by... There you go, it's gone. So their stats are reduced a lot, and now the Hammers can do a lot better, sort of in that fight. You can see the Sisters of Avalorn, like the High Elf player brought actually a lot of missile pressure. The Sisters of Avalorn really need to move up and go after the gyrocopters, but they're not doing that. We got a Rune of Wrath and Rune here, so really I like this game because of sort of how it plays out. We've got 3 Swordmasters of Hoeth, I think 3, or maybe it's only 2. And you can see that middle battle is still going. Like Swordmasters of Hoeth, even without their rune, even without their abilities, are still really good. You can see a big heal going down here, and they've managed to beat the Hammers, even though they had the Master Rune of Wrath and Rune on them. So in come Grumpy Guard's got Dwarf Warriors with great weapons, and he's going to send them in. Like this is sort of, I know I'm not showing a little of the other battle, but really I wanted to show this for this isolation here. You can just see how powerful Swordmasters of Hoeth are. They've had a Master Rune of Wrath and Rune. They've beat up a group of Hammers, and now they're beating the crap out of a group of Dwarf Warriors with great weapons, and they don't have their martial prowess. You can still see these guys sort of running around. I think we got a heal coming in here. No. Well, I don't know if that was the greatest idea, but anyways, the Swordmasters of Hoeth finally rout. And with that spell, so essentially the Dwarf Warriors' great weapons are gone. So the backline here on this build is actually still got lots of pressure to put up, but they're not putting pressure on one unit. Like they really need to focus on one thing, because that's the thing about Trollhammer torpedoes. These guys look at all the health they're down, and they have 19 out of 21 models. Like enemy range that don't have armor piercing have a hard time putting pressure on iron drakes. These guys 19 out of 21, these guys 16 out of 21. And now really I love this game by Grumpy Guard, because now he's sort of won this. He's won the front line for the most part, and he's pushing back. He's cleared this out, and you're going to see he's now going to have to bring up his backline troops to support. And he's getting into these archers, and they're going to slow down. This gyrocopter's on the way back. Where's his other gyrocopter? Is it gone? It might be. In here, he's got the Rune Lord in fighting with archers. That's exactly where you want them. And these hammers have come back, and now it's just time to get his like you see he's going to try and get onto this noble. And there you go. The elf player has actually been pretty good at trying to get around here and stay out of the way with his nobles. But there's not too much you can do. He's going to be able to do from here on out. Alariel is going to come back, and she's going to try and do something, but she has magic damage and she doesn't have armor piercing. I mean, so she's going to get some kills, and obviously this noble is going to really do some damage. Like even a weak noble is still very powerful, but in comes Deadly Onslaught for the damage. He's getting shot, and here is what I'm talking about. So he's going into his charge animation. These guys are really squirrely because they can just go around and around and around. So if we watch, He is targeting him. He's trying to get him. He goes into his charge animation, gets extra 15 speed, turns around, and these guys are getting no shots. And essentially, the high elf player is just spam clicking here. He's got Foe Seeker for the 24 speed, and now he's going to this other side. You can see how devastating this Noble Chariot is, even though it's almost out of health completely. Really, really powerful unit, and you can see Dwarf's just like at the end of the game, you just cannot deal with him. You can't stop him, even if you have Troll Hammers. It's hard. Now he's going to hit him here. You can see everything slows down just a touch, and he hits him and kills him. So essentially, he's had to kill that entire chariot to get it off, and sometimes you have to kill it twice with all the healing, and that's sort of what you see. But anyways, I wanted to cast this game because I didn't get a chance to cast it, but as a proper. But I thought I'd go through this game because we had the ghost, and we got to watch the ghost. So you have to go eat. Have a good one, Vin. Episode's almost over. So you have a good one. Thanks for showing up, Zach. Be sane. Really like Grumpy Guard's play here. Yeah, awesome build. And the thing I'd be wary of is the ethereal hero. The ethereal hero. Ariel can probably two-shot with her magic damage, right? But she didn't bring she has magic damage. The thing that was more dangerous was Sisters of Avalorn, but he never did get him on there. But a fun little build. It is dangerous, I agree, Zach, but I'm glad to see it because I don't bring the ethereal heroes. Maybe I'll bring them now that they're 100 gold cheaper. But anyways, you can see here. Really, really good performance. And leaving the Dwarf Warriors with great weapons for the back line, for the cleanup, they actually did pretty good. And coming down to eventually kill the archers, hammers. Some of them got beat up pretty bad by these Swordmaster or Hoeth. But again, a build without... this build would have been so much better, I think. You have one archer and one Sister of Avalorn for... The reason you have one archer, I think, in a high elf build is for giant slayers, and you have one Sister of Avalorn for gyrocopters, and then you get rid of these 3 archers and these 2 spearmen and replace it with white lions. I think you're good. Yeah, Zach, I really like the 3 troll hammers, 3 hammer combo. Can you test how bolt throwers are killing Iron Drake models? How good they are at killing Iron Drake models? Sure I could. You're talking about high elf bolt throwers? Let me see. Okay. All right. We'll get rid of this. And let's... Okay. Warhammer, and I will get my mods. I just have unit testing map pack, pick any unit, play. How bolt throwers are at killing Iron Drake. You're talking about the high elf bolt throwers, right? I assume. Since no artillery, that's what I'd target with them. Okay. So this is what I'll do: is I'll put in a high elf or dark elf. Okay, I understand. High elf and dark elf, I think, are almost the same, just different range. I think that one does a tiny bit more damage than the other, as far as I know. But I'll just check it out. I would think that because they're so accurate, they'll do all right. And I would think they would not use their anti-infantry. I think they would just use their regular armor piercing. But we'll see. So custom battle, and I'm gonna have to play the role of the high elves, so I can change this and the Dowie. We got our troll hammers. Okay, and we'll get onto this map. A dark elf more damage. Well, let's see. Where is there? Yeah, Dark Elves are a little more damage. A little less range, a little bit more damage. So we'll go with a slightly higher damage Dark Elves then. 700. And the Dowie. And we'll pop in here and get the Iron Drakes. So settings. 3 by 1,000. I like this one. I think like the Reaper Bolt Thrower is best off staying in its normal armor piercing mode, but we'll do a couple of tests. So are we in range here? A little bit. Okay. So I'm going to move back. I'm going to be in my multi-shot round, and we'll just see how we do. Now, yeah, here they come. And they're dwarfs. Even though they're running, they're not the fastest. Now, these are getting a buff. Keep in mind. Yeah, it doesn't do much of anything. Yeah. So what you're going to see is they should just leave it in their normal non-multi-shot round because the Iron Drakes have so much armor. Are they going to make it? Yeah, they're going to make it. Now, when they get closer, they start doing a whole lot more damage. Yep. And the Iron Drakes win. So, now, that's with their... DE artillery is worse than HE artillery. Well, we'll test it. 10 and 1, we'll see. Like, Dark Elf artillery has more damage. So here, now I'm just going to leave it in the standard round. The standard round's much better. And I know you waste your bonus versus large, but it has more armor piercing. So, now we'll see. We'll just leave it in our normal round. Now, I could be wrong, but, we'll see. I think it's because the thing is it kills models, right? First shot, killed one model. So we'll see. Well, maybe it's going to be the same. I don't know. It looks like they're doing more damage. Like I don't think the Iron Drakes are going to win this. Oh, they're just going to try and get into melee combat, which is doing a weird thing, but whatever. So anyways, you can see, I think it was pretty clear the Reaper Bolt Thrower did a lot more damage to the Iron Drakes with the normal shot. But the question is, 10 and 1, will it kill Mazdamundi? I think the answer is no. Now, the Iron Drakes, I think the Reaper Bolt Thrower is still better on the standard round, even with you're not using your bonus versus large. And this is proof positive is the testing that Gaba sent in with the Dowie Bolt Thrower is just even though they're anti-large, this has so much armor piercing and it kills models. This doesn't kill models, and it has armor piercing, but a lot of things, and it has a bonus versus infantry. Now, where this is going to be good, these multi-shot rounds are against lower armored stuff. Troll hammers will crump Mazdamundi. Zach, remember what you said there. Because, man, oh man, troll hammers are so good. Oh man, I love troll hammers. All right, so anyways, I think that's just about an hour. We'll end our second episode of the Grumbling Dwarf here. It was meant to be an open forum, and we had people come in to chat. I don't know if I'll run it like this again next time. Again, I'm just experimenting with different ideas of how to run this podcast. and maybe I invite one person, then have an open forum, and I make sure I always have someone to chat back and forth with. I'm really not sure. But anyways, thanks for everyone for coming, and hope you enjoyed my grumble with Dowie slows early on, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments as to, different ideas for the episodes, and maybe we'll try and set it up next Sunday. I'm going to try and run the episodes around so everyone has a chance to come and see a 10-1 red host probably next Sunday. I might do it next Sunday. I don't know. Apparently there's some people that have to work Saturdays, so I'll try and do one Sundays. I'll try and move it around a little bit so everyone gets a chance to come and join me. So anyways, that's the episode. Hope you guys found it interesting, and I will see you guys soon.